back to Brashonomics, here with Jared Fraser with over a decade of experience in real estate and property management industries. He joins us today to really just continue these conversations about the real estate and investments and rental properties. Hey, Jared, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing good. How about yourself?
I'm good. How are your Giants doing, buddy?
They clinched their division, and I am happy to say I was there for the game when they clinched it in San Francisco.
Wow, you go to Giants games like I go to Seahawks games.
I wish as many, but a few times a year I like to go down there and see them play. But that's a lifetime experience. That was awesome.
Right on, very cool. Well, another big lifetime experience that people have is buying a house, moving into houses, or even buying investment properties. And one of those big things that I think one of those key terms you always hear now is turnkey. Oh, I want a turnkey home. Everything has to be turnkey. But you brought up some things maybe people can look past or should be looking past because, just because the key doesn't turn perfectly the first time doesn't mean you can't.
Yeah, I've seen clients pass up on great homes for very minor imperfections. The paint colors. Paint super easy to change, new trim. Basically, there's a lot you can do to a house with very minimal cash to really change the aesthetics of the house. Coming through, putting in, changing the carpet, changing paint colors, trim, even changing from an old brown trim to a new white trim just changes the outlook of the house and gives it a whole new feel. And there are many homes out there that they don't show great. They might still be occupied, so there's still some of the owner's stuff in there. But a lot of them are still vacant, and they still just need that little bit of help. And a lot of clients, they'll overlook it. They go, oh, this house doesn't look as nice. But when you can save a lot of money. Sometimes the difference between identical homes but with different aesthetics is $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 when it would only take $5,000 to bring it back to that same house that you're comparing it to. And I've also seen this in the other way, where people go, they want to buy a fixer-upper and just think we can do everything to this house and really blow their budget. You can overspend also. So it's both worlds. You need to kind of get comfortable with what you're willing to do and how much you want to spend, what you're willing to do, and a time frame for it. And you can really find and dial in and get a good property at a good price.
So what are some of the biggest things people need to be looking past?
If it's occupied, the owner stuff. There's going to be some personal stuff from the owner. And so many times you'll see them go in and they almost make comments on how the owner lives. And it's true. Like
the anti-staged house, huh?
The anti-staged house. Like, who would put this here and this side? That's stupid. And really, you're doing yourself a disservice because that's not going to be there. Their stuff is going to move. Even if it's left behind, you can get rid of it. And this sounds so minor and innocent, but it really holds up deals and holds up people's time frames when it comes to buying a home. You keep passing up these homes because of minor imperfections, and then your 2-month window to buy a house that you're trying to stick to has now gone to 3-4 months, and now you're just trying to buy something before that job starts or before whatever deadline you got set. And
so really it can not only change your budget financially, but your budget of time, it sounds like.
Yeah, definitely. And time is usually the biggest factor that I see when people are trying to buy a home. They want to do it within a certain time frame. If they don't have that time frame, they tend to maybe just kind of be a looky-loo. They're just kind of looking around, seeing what's out there. But that time, the people with a time frame, when they have a certain amount of time to buy the property, months, weeks, it's easier to get dialed in on what they want. And I usually like to have a conversation with them about, this house is going to need this kind of stuff. This house is turnkey. They're all out there, and that affects timeline, affects, price. And once you get that info and you can look past those imperfections, you can really find a property at a good price.
Okay, well, let's continue on the path of what imperfections are out there. Once the seller's, furniture you don't want is gone and, their old TV, as you're thinking flat screen, of course.
Countertops. Countertops are a huge one. When people see an outdated kitchen, you can update kitchens for $4,000 to $7,000 without going overboard. We're not talking everything needs to be granite, brand new custom cabinetry, but you can do refacing of cabinets, just adding doorknobs. There's a lot of I basically watch HGTV, and it's true. I mean, I like to make fun of that a little bit, but it is true. There's so much you can do to really make that home personal and what you really want. You can really add your own aesthetic. And so many times I'll see people overspend for a house that just has really nice finishes when they're not even their style. The house looks nice and clean and it's got granite countertops, everything, but they don't like the granite. So they overpay for the house and then rip out this good granite and put in their own granite that was a different shade. So if you can see have your vision and know how much you want to spend, you can actually find that house without those improvements and apply them. And that's when we're looking for homes where you want to stay away from a complete fixer-upper and just kind of outdated.
We're here with Jared Fraser with Keller Williams. Jared, so we have a couple minutes before we have to go to break, but when you start looking at the price of homes versus the little bit of fix-up, do you tend to think that people are, I mean, just in general, the market, people are not going up after the fixers, people are just going after the turnkey, the perfect style homes? And then also, I mean, what does turnkey really mean?
Turnkey to me means everything. You're not going to touch it. You're just going to move in and let it be. So that means it's got good flooring. It's got clean carpets. It has no mechanical fixes that need to be done to the plumbing or heating or electrical. It's ready to go. Basically, just like it says, turnkey. You can buy the house, close in a month, and move in the next day, and it's ready to go, and you can live the rest of your life and be happy.
And then the gap can really be just about anything, I guess.
Well, and people have different perceptions of when I've been told they're looking for a fixer, and I've taken them to a fixer, and either it's way too much, or what I like to say, more people are looking for an outdated home where it's in great shape, but everything's just kind of old. It's 20, 30 years out of style, and it just needs to be updated. And that's where I feel like people are more common, and they confuse that with a fixer-upper, where a fixer-upper needs mechanical repairs, roof repairs, maybe structural repairs. And if you're willing to undertake that, or if you have the cash available, there are great deals out there, but it's not a hot market where people are looking to overtake that type of property.
Yeah, well, Jared, certainly people do have to make that choice from the beginning, and the choice of what they want to live through. And even as Stephen was talking about, people are going to live through a little bit of stress. They're going to have financial concerns. And so you got to kind of figure out where you lie in that triangle of what house you want, how much money you got, and how much stress you're willing to take to get it.
Yeah, and definitely with the fixer-upper, you need more cash available. So if you're doing minimum down payments and you're not, that can make things tougher. You need to have that cash available because you don't want to finance the upgrades, because then that just adds to that interest that you're paying. Usually on financing upgrades, it's at a higher rate. So it just really might work against you.
Home Depot, 0%, 6 months, right?
Yep. You got to go for the 12 months.
There you go. We do have to go to break. Again, thanks for joining us. Jared Fraser with Keller Williams. When we come back, everybody's going to join us. Jared's going to stick around. Stephen and Glenn will be right back after this break.